Alright, time to take a look at this week's Wacky Pack. It's been a while since we've had one of these, and this is the smartphone toy. So you can see it on the right hand side of the screen there, and it's kind of a weird one because it only activates once per game, and that is on turn 3. It will give you a tier 6 unit, or a choice between two tier 6 units on turn 3, and then that's it for the whole game. So very interesting toy, and obviously this has been available for a while in lobbies, but I've never actually played a game with it. I think I might have tested it on the test server to see that it actually worked, but other than that, I've not really used it, and I've played quite a few games this week. It is quite funny when you suddenly get a tier 6 on turn 3. Technically that was always possible with Griffin in the olden days, but no one ever managed to do it, at least not that I'm aware. And or maybe it was turn 4 was the earliest possible, I don't know. Either way, we get the cockatrice here, which one of my favourite tier 6s, even though it's probably one of the worst. But when you get it on turn 3, it's actually a whole lot better. Especially since it has a very beefy stat line now. I think 6-8 as a starting stat line is very good. And of course, in the early game, most of the units on the other side are all going to be level 1. So there's always going to be something for the cockatrice to actually activate its ability on. My opponent here gets very unlucky with the transformation there. They end up having the tier 6 condor copying the pygmy seahorse, which removed itself. But since we have axehandle hound and basilisk in this weekly, or in this wacky pack I should say, because there is a weekly as well if you don't like playing the wacky toys, we can actually go for a combo that I've done a couple of different videos on because axehandle hound has been changed so many times. And this is trying to deliberately make it trigger based on having 2 rocks on the enemy team. So if you put basilisk in the front slot, you can transform their frontmost unit into a rock, and then hopefully cockatrice will be able to transform the backmost unit, or one close to the back. That means they have 2 rocks, as you can see here, and then the axehandle hound activates. Now previously this was quite difficult to get going because axehandle hound was before attack, whereas now it's before any attack. So it will actually fire as soon as the basilisk goes to attack, which is incredibly good. I mean, overall it's not the best combo because the damage from axehandle hound isn't necessarily the best. But in this particular pack, I think it's actually quite decent. There definitely are some things that counter it, and of course opposing cockatrice can ruin the setup as well. And we'll actually see some other examples of things that will ruin the setup pretty soon. But it's such a funny looking team where you turn 2 units to stone and then, yeah, okay, here we go. So they actually had cockatrice, so we lost one of the snipes from axehandle hound. Maybe I should have reordered, I don't know, but we do end up losing. Of course, one of the protections to leveling, to having your axehandle hound get turned into a rock would be leveling it up as quickly as you can. There is no chocolate in this pack, so you can't get level 2 cockatrice until turn 9 at the absolute earliest, and even then it would be very unlikely to get it. You can get duplicates of units by using flytrap, but I don't want to play the cockatrice in the backline in case it gets turned to stone too quickly. So in order to try and maximise the effectiveness of the low damage snipes from the axehandle hound, we're going to take both skunk, but also the squash on the basilisk at the front, because that will go off before the basilisk attack trigger. So it's basically like having a mini skunk in addition to the one we have in the backline. And so gorilla is in this pack as well. Obviously, if a gorilla gains coconut, it can counteract our team that way. But I think we're going to be able to scrape a win. Yep, just. So level 2 axe handle, and then now that we're on turn 12, we really need to get level 2 or higher cockatrice to make sure that it's always able to transform something. Because in this example, this team only had 1 level 1 unit, and it was actually at the front. So that meant that we didn't get the trigger, and we're going to lose as a result. So probably a bit optimistic to go for level 3 axe handle here, but not a whole lot of stuff that we can look for. Our team is basically set now. We just want the level 2 cockatrice, And here we go, level 1 II in the back line gets us another victory. So we just need one more. I think actually maybe I've already skipped over one of the rounds that I was interested in showing. There's a round where this gets countered by Hooded Seal on the opposing team, which is hilarious. I think the odds of that happening in regular customs is virtually nothing. So it was very fun to actually get to see that in practice. And there we go. There is the double Axehandle Hound, double rock victory. I'll link the old videos in this same style so you can see a comparison and how Axehandle Hound has changed. And then we had a couple of submissions of runs in this weekly, or in this wacky pack. I keep saying weekly. I haven't actually played the regular weekly at all, so I'm only going to play this pack while it's available. And yeah, we've got a turn 1 tier 2 Ghost Kitten here, and I think I'm going to skip ahead in a second to the ending, or maybe we're going to see which tier 6. Yeah, okay, so it's Aklut, and the only way to get mana in this pack is with the mana potion, which you can see in the shop there. And actually the mana potion decays, or the mana in shop decays a bit slower these days. So buying a single mana potion, although it only gives 3 mana, it actually works for Aklut for 2 turns. So that's pretty helpful. And definitely one of the best ways to scale in this pack for sure. And I think here it looks like Tepalus is going for level 3 Anubis in order to try and make the Aklut go off twice. But I think it's way too late. Maybe I'm misinterpreting what's actually going on here, but yeah, it's turn 12. And since there's no chocolate, the odds of actually getting the level 3 are very, very low. And smart emu team here with the guy that removes his own ailment. Okay, so actually Anubis is being abandoned and just going to go for the 2 squad. Maybe a little bit ambitious, but actually this team looks beatable. Yeah, because they're relying on the snipes here, but Ghost Kitten's just going to take all the hits and take no damage. So very clutch victory from the level 3 turn 1 tier 2 Ghost Kitten there on turn 13. And then here's one from the Discord, Nargit getting the turn 1 tier 2 Mandarin Fish. And this is actually a very surprising round 1. You'd think this would be an automatic loss, but the opponent has Volcano Snail at the front. So the Mandarin Fish actually heals itself and gets the tie. Very surprising there, and then we'll skip to the end of this one as well. And it's a full ailment build with Jerboa as the scaling unit. And it has Silly, but it doesn't really make any difference because Silly doesn't work in shop. And it's another one of these teams with the Pangasius. But unfortunately for the Jerboa, it transforms into a copy of the skunk, and it ends up being a victory for Nargit there. So I have recorded plenty more stuff in this wacky pack, but time constraints today mean I have to cut this one short. Do make sure you check out Tuesday's video if you haven't already seen the competition that we're running.